War Eagle War Rapport family, I'm your host C-Dub, and today's live show is brought to you by the good folks over at GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Now listen, if you're in the restaurant business, you're a restaurant owner, and you're looking for ways to save energy, not quite sure how to do that, well then today is your lucky day. You need to visit GWT2energy.com and they'll get you hooked up. The Weekend Tailgate starts right now, guys.
You are now listening to the unmistakable sound of the War Rapport. Weekend Tailgate. It's your boy, I Jones. Be real. C-Dub. Mike G. Get ready. Sit on back as we bring you the War Rapport Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, and happy Sunday, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks again for hanging out with us, checking out the best tailgate there is online, the Weekend Tailgate. Hope you guys are well. You know what to do. Smash the like button. Drop a War Eagle in the comments. And if you're new, uninitiated, not quite sure how we do things here, drop your city, your state. If you're new to the War Rapport, if you're watching us live for the first time, we want to hear from you guys. And whatever you do, please be sure to share our video. If you're on social media, particularly Twitter, you can add us at The War Rapport. You can always use hashtag Get Your Weight Up. We've got some great content in store for you guys. Mike G is here to tell us all about it. Mike G.
Man, listen, become an insider. Cannot stress enough. We are going to have a good time this season, and it's going to be insider only. A lot of this stuff. So, becoming insider, $6.99 a month will get you there. We are providing a lot of content for our insiders. So, if you are an insider, you probably saw our last segment for the record. We have another for the record dropping this Thursday, delving into blue chip O-line recruiting. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be a really, really good conversation. We're providing more stats. We partnered with Justin Ferguson over at the Auburn Observer. So he is actually providing us with a lot of the interesting stats that you can't really look up on ESPN or Yahoo or any of these basic sites, right? Where we really take a delve into advanced statistics to help predict what we're going to see on the field in 2021. So insider only content. You definitely want to become an insider. You can find this link on the front page of our YouTube channel. Hit join, choose insider, and you are good to go. In the about section of our YouTube channel, there's a link for our merch store. Hit this up. Ike is dropping some hot stuff for you guys this summer. So looking forward to seeing the pictures. Lisa Wise, if you are watching, you owe me a shirt size via email. Please check your email. But I'm looking forward to seeing the pictures of everybody wearing their War Rapport gear as the season approaches. We are also officially partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to help rescue animals. A big thank you to everybody who sent well wishes for Aubrey these last few days. She's been going through some internal bleeding and I had some things going on with her, but she is hopefully out the other end of that. Now, if you've heard me talk about this, you know how much my rescue animal means to me. Cannot imagine life without her. We want other people to find that joy as well. So in the about section of our YouTube channel, you can find this link. 50% on every dollar goes to help us and help them in their mission to save animals and put them in good homes with people who will love them. And last but certainly not least, JT O'Sullivan joined us. The QB school guy joined us to talk about what makes an elite college quarterback. This was a tremendous conversation. And I have to say, if you're an insider and you're in the comments right now, drop a comment about that video if you've watched it already, and let everybody else know why they should become insiders to get this stuff early. But he really broke some things down for us. I would argue this is probably the best building rapport we've done to date. He was very gracious in giving us an hour of his time to talk about the ins and outs of quarterbacking. I don't want to give too much away. All I can say is that drops tomorrow at 10 a.m. for everybody else. Insiders, you have it already. And we're giving away a t-shirt. Speaking of the merch store, we're giving away a t-shirt. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Check the spelling. Bust out the Urban Dictionary. Make sure you have that spelled right. Hashtag get your weight up to enter. At the 1 hour mark, we will be drawing to give away a t-shirt. Guys, this is my favorite thing that we do, is giving things away to the people who support us and are patrons of our channel and loyally come here to watch and commune with fellow Auburn fans every Sunday and Wednesday. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter that drawing. And I'll say it again for anybody who's joining late. I see people are kind of following in late here, but I'd like to see 99% of you guys registered for that.
Yeah, that's a goal. We need you guys to definitely do that. Especially those of you who've been complaining about not winning. We definitely need you making sure that you're dropping to get your weight up in there. Since we don't have a lot of comments, a lot of people watching just yet, man, I think we can highlight some people in our chat, man, who in the comment section. Shout out William Hazard. Shout out Daniel. We see you. J-Dub, we see you. Risk No Reward. Again, man, thank you so much for the recent weeks of us being able to give away a Bo Jackson rookie card. We appreciate you for that, man. War Eagle to you, sir. E-Craft, we see you. Good buddy Blake Robinson, War Eagle to you, buddy. Good to see you. Gregory Lawrence, we see you. Monterio, Heath Denson, who's the latest winner of a t-shirt that'll be dropping Monday, man. War Eagle to you. James Barnett, church was awesome today. Nice time to feature Soul. I think we got you there, buddy. And it looks like, I don't know if we've seen this name before, but War Eagle from Pittsburgh, Jim Glux. Yeah, War Eagle, buddy. B, we see you. B Parham, War Eagle, Spicy Penguin, Derek. Now, this is funny. Lawrence is saying War Eagle back to see if Mike G got us on probation for his extra gravy in the lunch line.
Actually, Lawrence, it was an extra pizza slice and 3 additional pepperonis, along with one of those super sugary Ocean Spray drinks. That's what I got.
Extra gravy for lunch is nasty, by the way. I would judge you.
They had mashed potatoes in that bar.
Wait, hold on now. It depends on what we're talking about. Extra gravy is not just default nasty. What is it going on?
Yeah, but they had mashed potatoes in that bar.
For lunch, B? You eating extra gravy for lunch?
If I've got extra mashed potatoes, yes. If it's got something to go on, it is. What kind
of productivity you expect to have in the afternoon eating that?
Oh, well, that's a whole nother conversation. Then.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm talking about working hard after. Let's talk about, okay. I got you.
That's all I'm saying. Hey, at dinner time, go for it. Knock yourself out, because we know what's going to happen a few hours later, right? You in the bed. But then again, them college naps was lit, so whatever.
The best.
Them midday naps was lit, so you may be onto something. Right. Anyway, man, guys, we have some things to talk about. Of course, we're going to be talking about the rushing attack today, but second half of the day, man, we want to hear from you guys. If you got questions for us, please be sure to drop them in the comment section, and we can discuss along as the War Rapport family. So let's talk about something that we saw on social media. Good friend of the show, Main Easy, had dropped some information and a quote from Tank Bigsby. And I don't have the graphic here, but Tank is saying that we're going to be more downhill this year. And we've got Mike Bobo, we've got Coach Harsin. I feel like we're going to be really good at what we do, especially running the football. Now, we've talked extensively about how this team is going to look going into 2021, year one under Brian Harsin. We talked about the need for an identity and what is Auburn going to look like under this new coaching staff. And when you assess this Auburn team top to bottom, is particularly on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, the consensus is we're going to be running the football, right? That's where we've been the most productive. That's where we have, our most talented player is in the running back position. We know we're going to be running the football. So we know that's something that we're going to want to do. And interesting to note, I looked up what Mike Bobo was able to do in 2020. And we all know Kevin Harris, the running back at South Carolina. He rushed for 1,100 yards last year on 185 carries, right? Mm-hmm. Now, that's impressive when you consider that couple of things. It was a 10-game season,
right,
all conference, and he wasn't getting a lot of help at the quarterback position because they were struggling. And thirdly, South Carolina was a mess. They fired Muschamp halfway through the season, and all they had to hang their hat on was the rushing attack. But albeit he was still very productive under Mike Bobo running the football. So I have no reason to believe that Auburn is going to run the football and take advantage of Tank Bigsby in year one. But here's the thing. Auburn doesn't play in the SEC East, right? Our strength of schedule is going to be a lot more tougher than South Carolina because not only do we play Georgia, we got Bama, LSU, A&M, the like, right? Now, we got some cupcakes this year, but I'm curious to know for you guys, and we have question marks, right? We know the question marks on the O-line, question marks with the quarterback position, question marks with the wide receiver room. All around Tank, there's question marks. So my question to you guys is realistically in year one. I mean, we would love to see Auburn select a quarterback, whether it be Finley or Bo. One of those guys throw for 3,000, 4,000 yards, take the pressure off of Tank. Tank can do work. Defenses don't even know how to defend us because we can beat you either way, right? But realistically in year one, what's going to help Auburn continue as the season goes on and defenses are scheming to stop us? What's going to allow our downhill rushing attack to really get stronger as the year goes on? And I'll start with you, B.
Well, you asked me what's going to allow it to get better. It's going to be the offensive line getting comfortable with the scheme. That's number one. We've seen that, though, from in years past now that we are far enough ahead of it where we feel like we know we weren't getting coached properly at so many positions. It took about 5 or 6 games before any position group gelled on offense. And then everything started to make sense. Now, that doesn't mean that year was going to be great. 2016 wasn't a great offensive year, but we at least settled into our strength. And was that our Cam Petway year? 2016?
I think so.
I think it was 16. It was 16 because we played Vandy. I remember.
Yeah.
We pulled a hammer.
But we lost the other. What was the other running back that got kicked off? And I think Cam stepped in and became that guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it all started to click around halfway mid-season. So we've seen position groups, particularly offensive line, they just start to gel. But I expect that to happen here, and that's going to be what gets us to the next level. Now, I don't expect it takes us 6 games for our offensive line to start looking like what it's going to be every year. But you've got a new offensive line coach. You've got a new offensive system. You've got new schemes of blocking. So it's going to look different initially. Well, good for us is that we've got an all-world tailback, and it's going to look – I don't think it's going to take so much for us to look productive early because we got a guy. Even with all of our woes last year, every time Tank was in the game, he made a difference. Right. When the offensive line got hurt, he was still running the ball for a lot of yards. It wasn't until he got hurt that he wasn't productive. But as soon as he got back in the lineup, they played him sparingly. I think the first game back, he looked a little uncomfortable. And then by the next game back, he was back picking up big yards again. He's the guy that makes it all go. We're fortunate to have him throughout the entire season. At least we hope we'll have him from the outset. The offensive line coming into its own will then allow him to look as all-world as he actually is. I expect that early. It may be some tough going. I don't know exactly what to expect. I've been encouraged by hearing how much the strength program seems to be having an effect on our players. So I expect the offensive line to look better off top, just initially. I've been saying this all offseason. Addition by subtraction with the last staff and the last offensive scheme, we are better just because they're not here. Now we may be a notch better than that because we've got a better strength program and better offensive line coach and better offensive system. So I expect us to be good early and great later. Even if we don't have all-world offensive line talent, you do something enough. You get into a rhythm. You start to figure it out so that it's muscle memory instead of thinking, and then it gets better. So I expect halfway through the season, we'll go from good to great at running the ball. That's what I think is going to happen.
Mike G, talk to me, bro. What's gonna help? B talked about the O-line. I do have a follow-up question to you, B, about that O-line. But Mike G, get in here, bro. Talk to me about what you think Auburn has to do. I think I have an idea of what you're going to say, but talk to me.
Well, I want to address the comment first. So he says that we're going to be more downhill this year, which is great to hear. That means that we're going to have when I hear that, I hear we're going to have a run-first scheme. And the coaches think that running the ball is going to be a strength of our offense. That's what I hear. They think that running the ball is going to be a strength of our offense, and they've got the tools there to be successful in the scheme that these coaches are putting together. It also tells me that Tank thinks that it's his time. He's stepping up to carry this team in some ways, and they're putting that on him, and he's accepted the challenge. Now, whether we'll be able to execute that, because this is the SEC, it will depend strongly on how multiple we actually are. Now, a lot of people ask, this points to what is our offensive identity going to be in the year 2021? Because we know what it has been the last 8 years when it was successful. Run first, play action. It was downhill, and then hit you over the top every once in a while to be able to keep you honest. And when we have not been able to hit those downfield throws, the offense had struggled historically over the last 8 years. I don't think that aspect of it is going away. I don't think in our league you could be so good at running the ball that you cannot have a vertical threat and still be successful week in and week out. What's going to come down to is if they want to play that way, they're going to have to hit passes over the top and over the middle regularly to keep defenses honest. Because if you're going to let every team stack the box against you, I don't care who's back there, whether it's Tank, whoever it is. If you can't hit downfield, if you cannot hit downfield passes, you're not going to have an easy time in our league. You're just not. So while I appreciate the confidence that Tank has in the scheme that the coaches are putting together, because the hope, remember, we talked a lot about hope. If the hope is there for him, then that makes me excited. When the players are talking like this, I feel excited because at least they believe in what they're doing. How they execute it will be a different story, because as much as we can scheme and do certain things, we all have to remember that the other team is scheming too. They have good coaches, and they're coming up with ways to stop you.
Right. And
you have to have an alternative plan. You have to have a backup plan in case they figure out what you're doing. Adjustments. That's going to be the strength of this offense. If they're successful in 2021, it's going to be in-game adjustments. That's not going so hot. And they're finding ways to fill gaps and stop Tank. How can we get our best player? And I'm saying this right now. Tank Bigsby is our best offensive player. How can we get our best player the ball in spite of what the defense is trying to do to stop him?
Right.
And once you prove that it doesn't matter what you do, once that, again, like you can load the box. We're going to leak Tank out of the backfield. We're going to hit you over the top. We're going to do all these. We're going to run the quarterback. We're going to do all the things that are going to burn you if you key in on Tank.
Right.
Now, and again, this just comes back to offensive identity to me. When I read this quote, I think Tank thinks that our offensive identity is going to be a run-first, hard-nosed football team, which I'm not opposed to. But that can only be effective if you are truly multiple in some ways. You can't be a one-trick pony in our league and expect to have success. We know that. My perfect example of that was Florida last year. I came out early in the season. Nobody was watching this then, but it's still on tape, saying that I felt like Florida was overrated. I felt like they were overrated. Now, I will tell you, at the end of the season, even in spite of all the talent they had, and if you're an insider, you definitely don't want to miss this segment, this for the record that we're doing, because it delves into this. If you look at how they finished the season, their lack of not being able to be multiple, they weren't able to be multiple, killed them against Bama. They were one-trick pony. They were a one-trick pony, B. And Trask was great. He was awesome.
That's pretty good with that one trick.
Yeah, I mean, he was great, but it still wasn't enough in our league to get them over the hump because you got to have more than one trick. They couldn't run the ball at all. They couldn't control the clock. Bama kills them. So, I hear what Tank's saying here, and I'm hopeful that means that they have established that at least run blocking is going to be a strength of our team this year. Pass pro is going to be a work in progress, I'm sure. And so that I'm clear to everybody listening, you can be good at run blocking and not good at pass pro. Those are two different beasts. We were much better at run blocking last year than we were at pass pro. So what is this team's identity going to be? And how are they going to figure out? I mean, that's the question. If I had to ask Brian Harsin one question, that's the first question I would ask him. What kind of offensive identity are we going to have? And how are you determining that? Is it based on who your quarterback is? It should be based on whatever your strengths are. But you still have to have other strengths for that one strength to remain effective.
Agreed. B, there was a lot of sighing and slumping in your chair.
I don't know how you disagree with any of that.
B, what do you think? What do you talk to me, B? What's get it off your chest?
Mike is that friend who gets one thing right.
I got a lot of things right.
And never lets you forget that he got the one thing right. And he is so...
It was a big thing, though.
...shaded towards the idea that Florida was going to be... they were overrated or they were going to be bad. And he rested on it. And he got a pick right. Amen, Mike. We're so happy for you. Hallelujah.
Yeah, give you some more of that.
Florida.
Hold on. Before you continue, B, I just think this is hilarious. Daniel's like, yeah, Bama killed him by 6 points. That's
yeah, but that's my point.
No.
Oh, that's my point.
Florida had a mediocre defense the entire year. Their defensive coordinator is mediocre. They had some good defenses under the last guy, McElwain, because it was leftover Muschamp talent where they were all world. Their defense slowly got worse. By the time Mullen gets there, they're all right. Florida, a lot of ways, mimics Auburn as far as what their recruitment ability is. I think as far as what their legacy is and can be in the conference, what their power can be in the conference, Florida is a good mimic of what Auburn is. And what that means is you're good for upper echelon, but not quite top tier crust. So what that results in is if you get an Urban Meyer in and you can get everything rolling, you'll be great. If you get the wrong coach, you'll be bad. And that's just that institution, which is a lot like us. So what I mean by that is as soon as their defensive coordinator left. So what?
I think Grantham's just overrated too.
But he is overrated. He is not good. He is not a good defensive coordinator. And they dealt with that all season. They don't have this legacy of defense. They get some good players here and there. They recruit decent or great if the recruitment, the staff there is great, but that's not who they are. They had an all-world offensive battery last year. Them being one-dimensional didn't stop anything. It did not stop anything. Their defense couldn't stop leaks. That's why they gave up that game against Bama. They sat Pitts against LSU and somebody else, by the way. That's why they lost to LSU. They wouldn't have lost to LSU if they were trying to beat LSU. They were resting up for Bama. Bad decision. That's a coach's decision. That has nothing to do with the offensive talent they had on the field because they couldn't run the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we cover it in For the Record, but I could poke holes all in that argument. Just
you poke your holes. You poke your holes, guys.
But if you're an insider, Thursday, tune into For the Record, and we'll cover that.
Well, I'm going to watch it before then because I have access to it, and I'm going to come up with some stats to show that's wrong.
Yeah, because that's what I'm going to do. Not before it drops. So
you're really going to tell me that the only team who came within a stone's throw of the best offense we may have seen in the last 20, maybe ever in college football. Somehow there was something wrong with their offense and not their defense. And
yeah, look, I'm saying is that because based on how their team was made up, because they couldn't run the ball, they could not keep their defense that you're maligning so much off the field. And they were scoring, but they were hanging that defense out to dry. There was no ball. There was no ball control. There was no time of possession control in that offense. It was Hail Marys, man. It was all or nothing. That's how they played. And balanced teams always kill you.
The first person's responsibility to keep the defense off the field is the defense. They failed. That's why they stayed on the field. Florida, us versus Florida in 2019, our defense did that. They got off the field, but eventually they wore down. Florida's defense against Alabama could not. Their only way of getting off the field was letting Alabama score a touchdown. That's not effective when you're trying to actually beat a team and score. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, so then when you run the ball and you hold it, you not only keep your defense off the field, you keep their offense off the field. But they gave Alabama too many possessions
because they couldn't stop them.
No,
it's
because
the defense's job. You're making it the offense's job to do the defense's job.
In part because they could not hold the ball long enough. I mean, you're discounting completely that is the offense's responsibility to hold the ball long enough to give your defense a break.
No, I disagree.
You're saying it is. That is
what you just said was not true.
What
you just said was not true.
Well,
Here's what you're
part of
saying.
their responsibility on offense. Part of their responsibility on offense is to hold on to the ball against good offenses. Because listen, Bama's offense they were the Jordan of the league. You weren't going to stop them. The way to beat them is to keep them off the field. Sometimes your best defense is a good offense. That's what it had to be for them in 20. That's not true every year, but the last year, that's what it needed to be.
If you were going to get people, it
needed to be. Yeah, that's what. So then, what are we arguing about?
What I am telling you is that it is the defense's job to stop.
30 more seconds.
You have made it now because you said they were indefensible last year, which I don't necessarily think is true. I just think most defenses weren't good last year. You have made it the offense's job to protect the defense more than the defense's job to stop the other team's offense.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that. Florida's defense was not good. It was all right at best. That is why they did not win more last year. That is what I'm saying. Now, you're telling me it's not the fact that their defense was bad. They should have just been able to run the ball instead of having a better defense.
I'm saying it's all part of it. It's all part of it.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Ding, ding, ding. All right. We got time to fight later on. We got all this offseason to argue about that. But listen, I do want to address this because there's two things I would like to discuss in light of the whole Tank argument with us being a downhill running team. Mike, you did make a good point in terms of we're going to have to be good at something else offensively in order for the running game to shine. Lawrence Robinson asked a good question saying a wide receiver needs to emerge. And I agree with this statement. Now, what would you guys like to see in terms, and we can get to the passing game and the quarterback, but in terms of a receiver, because this was a big concern coming out of spring. Who was the guy? Elijah Canyon had a good spring game, and he's pretty much, by all accounts, the number one guy coming out of spring. But you still have capers out there, the Johnson kids. I mean, Malcolm, Javaris. Like, who are you looking forward to being a guy who can help take the pressure coming out of the receiving core, can help be a part of that offense that takes the pressure off of Tank? Who do you like? I know who you've been raving about during spring, Mike G, but is that still your guy going into the fall?
Yeah, the person I'm looking to take the pressure off, you're not going to like this answer, is Mike Bobo.
Yeah, I don't like that answer, but continue.
Right. Yeah, that's the person that's the person that needs to take the pressure off of Tank, because if you are a receiver, you're not in control of your own destiny. Somebody has to throw you the ball. They have to scheme it right versus the defenses, and then you have to go out there and run your route correctly and hope that you're open, and then there's somebody that can deliver the ball to you. So if you ask the question and you say, who is that guy who will maximize his opportunities to help take whatever opportunities are afforded him in this system to help take pressure off the Tank, I still think Capers, Canyon, Malcolm Johnson, right? Those are the guys that really had to step up, you know. And the reason why I'm high on Malcolm Johnson is because of the vertical threat. We have to have a vertical threat. I thought during A-Day it was pretty clear that he's the guy that can get behind the defense. He can get behind the defense. And if you can deliver him the ball on time, he should be able to make plays.
Yeah.
Right. And we can use him like we should have been able to use Schwartz the last few years. He takes the top off the defense once or twice a game, and you've got to have respect for that, which gives everybody else, you know, when he's drawing two defenders, when he's drawing a safety and a DB downfield, there's going to be somebody else open, and then all these other guys can eat. Because when your guy gets one-on-one as a receiver, once you get one-on-one, the expectation should be you're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Once you're one-on-one with a DB, you should be licking your chops and ready. So, I mean, that's where I'm at. I still think Capers, Kenyon, Malcolm Johnson, like those are the guys that I think we'll really try to step into this, man, and do something great.
Anybody different from what was named there, B? Anybody you looking at?
I'm going to go with Spicy and say the tight ends, man. We haven't talked about them. We don't have a large body of work to attribute to them and say, hey, that's exactly where our production is going to come from. We haven't seen tight ends be productive here in so long that I don't think it's really mentally something that we can grasp yet. We know we have talent there. We know this is a different offensive system that wants to use tight ends, but we have not seen it. So we're not accounting for it. I think we've got too much talent and size there for that not to be a huge part. It is also the second safest thing we can do for a quarterback is tight end targets, running the ball being first. Running the ball, you hand it off. That's the safest thing you can do for a quarterback. If you don't trust the quarterback or the wide receivers or their grasp of the offense yet, running back, right? Tight ends, that's the second easiest because once a tight end gets in space, he's big enough to keep a defender away from him just with his body and his arms. If you scheme even remotely well, you can get him in space without defenders. You can give him a screen and have people block for him. There are a ton of ways we can use tight ends that is much safer than saying, do we have to have a number one receiver? We don't have to have a number one receiver early. We've got really big bodies that are athletic. We've got speed there with the newest tight end. He was a freshman. I forgot his name. You have to correct me on that, or somebody in the chat, give me that if you got it. Landon King. Yeah, Landon King. We've got a lot of talent there. I don't think we need to have a number one wide receiver yet. Kenyon may be the most polished wide receiver at this point, but I don't think that's the position. His wide receiver slot is not the slot, but I think we need the really big body guy that's going to go over the top. We don't have that. That's not Kenyon because he's not that fast. Javarius Johnson out of the slot, actually. A scat, somebody who's got some very good quicks. We think that's him, but we don't know. But really, if you want to run the ball, you've got those tight ends, first of all. They're on your line, and they're making running the ball easier, which takes a lot of pressure off of the offensive line to be great right out of the gate. We've got big bodies that we know are strong. We think the strength and conditioning program has been all world. The players are talking about it. The former players are talking about it. The coaches are applauding the players for it. That gives me confidence that early on between the offensive line and the tight ends, we'll be able to block, we'll be able to run, and we can let those wide receivers just come into it as we get further into the season. It doesn't have to be early. It doesn't have to be right now. We can surprise Penn State. We can go out and play 2 cupcake games, figure out what we've got, go to Penn State and start involving some guys that barely got any targets the first 2 weeks because they don't know what we've got. And that's probably our biggest advantage right now. The coaches know who's flashing. The other players know who's flashing. Nobody else does. You don't have any idea based on what Mike Bobo did at South Carolina. He didn't have these guys. What Harsin did at Boise, he didn't have these guys. These guys were playing under Gus. This is nothing like what Gus was doing. We can surprise everybody by coming in, doing just enough to figure out who we are to the coaches, and then go and really shock somebody in week 3 against Penn State and week 5 when we start SEC play. If it's going to be anybody taking that pressure off of Tank in the run game, I think it's going to be the tight ends, and I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but that's who I expect to really be getting the production for us early.
Okay. Let me ask you guys this question, and we'll begin to transition into kind of the midway point. How critical do you think the health of the O-line will play a factor into this downhill attack being effective as the season goes along? We saw how that became an issue last year when some key guys came down, and we're kind of thin in some areas. So, in your opinion, how critical is it for us to be as healthy as possible along the front line in year one with what we're trying to do with Tank?
I think player health is always important when it comes to, especially when it comes to offensive line. And once you get guys, depending on how deep you are, right, where you can, if you have an injury, can you bring in a backup that is playing his natural position on the O-line? Mm-hmm. Or are we shuffling guys to get a patchwork mix and match O-line going just so you can play your 5 best guys?
Right.
It seems like that's what we've had to do in the past. Somebody gets hurt, and then we're shuffling the whole O-line to try to find a combination that works rather than just bringing in the backup.
Yeah.
And plugging him in at left tackle or right guard or center or wherever.
We didn't have a lot of guys playing their natural position to begin with. So once a guy went down, it just became a cluster.
Yeah, so I would say that it's probably in year one really important as this coaching staff tries to build depth along that O-line. You need guys playing in their natural, but if they can stay healthy for a season, it will be a big win for these guys, not only in terms of just health, but gaining line chemistry and being able to do the things that you want to do offensively. A lot of it starts with O-line play.
Agreed.
There's a defender in the backfield every play. Your scheme is going to have to compensate for quite a bit. So what I'm looking for is that, again, number one reason you strength train is to prevent injuries. So if that strength and conditioning program is what they said it was, then I expect to see fewer injuries this season, barring some unfortunate circumstances that just happened. Lineman rolls on an ankle, freak things that you cannot really control.
Right.
But I don't expect to see any non-contact injuries there. I'm hoping. Let me say, I'm hoping not to see any non-contact injuries where a guy just pulls a hamstring out of nowhere. And then O-line, I mean, I've defended this O-line quite a bit because I felt like they took an unnecessary amount of the blame for our offensive struggles. But the truth is they just have to play better. They have to play better. The guys who start, their backups, it all has to be better. And that comes back down to the development piece with these coaches. Will Friend's got to earn his paycheck, man. He's got to earn his paycheck this year. And it doesn't have to look amazing, but if we can get marginally better in pass protection and improve run blocking, just build on what we were doing last year, we should be a much better team. Yeah. Our quarterback should be under pressure a little less. There should be some more holes for the running back to find, and then when plays break down, we should see and fewer penalties.
Right.
That's another thing. Discipline is false starts in holding calls or something that I hope are going down as the season progresses. We don't see a whole lot of that. We just see discipline along that offensive line. But when you're hurt, penalties come. And it's hard to do things when you're hurt. So health is going to be really, really important for them in this first year because I don't feel that they have the depth that they're going to want or they're going to be trying to build just yet. It's just not there.
Yeah. You got anything to add, B?
I kind of forgot what the question was.
Health of the O-line, help the O-line factoring into how effective the rushing attack will be as we get into the thick of the season.
I really just want to disagree with Mike about something else Mike said.
Health isn't important. We don't need health.
No, that's important. It was something you said before. One of your earlier.
We don't need backups.
I mean, listen,
every guy start every snap all season.
We know our offensive line isn't what we want it to be. We know we don't have a championship offensive line. We don't have that. It is probably the second reason we think we're not going to be competing for a championship this year. First being inconsistency at the quarterback position. If you could flip a switch and say Bo Nix is going to play the best game he ever played every game, and then our offensive line is going to be all world, then you'd say, oh, well, we're in it for a championship. No problem. So we know we've got issues there. I don't know what we've got at offensive line. It's probably a bigger question mark to me than quarterback for this reason. It's a 5-man group, and we don't know how good any one guy is on that line. Like Nick Brahms was third team all SEC on that Athlon thing, and we were like, really? We just watched some tape of Nick Brahms looking lost, getting blown by. If you're telling me that's our third best guy, what are you basing that on? Do they know something that we don't know? Was it just strength and conditioning? Is that why we were getting mauled when we're trying to pass protect? What is it? Is it just how much of it was scheme? How much of it was strength and conditioning? How much of it was these guys don't have the talent? And we have no idea what mix of any of those factors really contributed to what they ended up being last year. We don't know how good what's his name? Brandon. He got hurt mid-season, but he was playing really well. Council. I was about to say Coffee, but that's another player. We don't know what we've got there, and that's what scares me about the offensive line. We could say that, yeah, sure, depth is the key, but I don't know. I do not know if we even have the guys. It could be the fact that, as JG said every time, we don't have a tackle. He says that definitively every time he gets on the show and talks to us. We do not have a left tackle. We don't. We've got guys who are going to be in that position, but that's not their position. We don't have the ideal left tackle. And I don't want to say that worries me, because if we don't have one now, we didn't have one last year. And we didn't look terrible the entire year. We got better. Then guys got hurt. Of course, you know that it's paramount that guys stay healthy there. That's the most wear and tear anybody takes, is the offensive line. Those guys get beat up. They are getting hit and pushed by the strongest guys on the other team all game. And it's the same 5 guys. They're not rotating out like the defensive line is. That position is so critical to the team's success. Number one, running, that we know, but pass pro. So whatever we think is going to happen with Bo getting better and the wide receivers getting some chemistry with Bo or TJ Finley, it starts with the offensive line being able to play consistently to whatever level they're going to play. Let me say that. I don't want 10 out of 10 offensive line and then 2 out of 10 offensive line. I don't want to look as bad as we looked against Georgia last year and as good as we looked against the team. I want to say probably our best game before everything got real all over the place. Maybe it was, who was our, no, it wasn't
Who?
South Carolina.
Who was what now?
Who was our best game last year, offensive line wise, before they started getting hurt?
LSU.
Game 3 or 4.
Was it LSU?
Yeah, without a doubt, it was LSU. Was the best.
I was going to say either LSU or Ole Miss, one of those.
I can agree with that.
They actually graded pretty well versus Kentucky, but it was. I looked this up. I actually did look up the offensive line grades from game to game last year, and it was,
okay.
Yeah, LSU was their best game.
So, with all that, what worries me the most is, do we have the guys? And I could not determine based on what we saw from our offensive line if we even have those guys. So my expectation of them, I hope all 5 guys stay healthy, for the simple fact that the longer those guys are in there to get the reps and to learn and to get coached, I do believe they're going to get better as the season goes if they stay out there. The minute you start mixing and matching, man, it kind of sets you back. And one position on the offensive line is actually, yes, that's enough to have a significant different outcome with how well those guys play. So yes, depth is essential. Not having injuries is essential. I think the biggest problem and the biggest question mark is still, do we have the right 5 guys? Or if we do, are the coaches going to find it before we get see play?
Yeah. Real quick, Caesar. So Erica says, has our recruiting been sufficient for O-line? All I'm going to say to this, Erica, is you look like you're an insider. Thursday, we answer this question in depth with a lot of stats. This has been a very, I will say it's been a divisive topic for our fan base over the last few years, last year or two, about O-line play and what responsibility they bear in offensive production. And back in the day, you'd hear people say, games are won and lost in the trenches. That still is true to some extent, but schemes have improved so much.
Yeah.
that it's requiring some different things of these players. And it's not just about how good is your O-line. It's just not. And in this segment, we delve into some teams that haven't been recruiting great at O-line, but the results you couldn't tell by the results on the field because their scheme is so good. So I'm really happy that we're doing this segment because it allows us to kind of dive into some of these numbers so you guys can understand where we're getting our stances from on a lot of this. I really love advanced statistics, and they tell a story. And people tell me all the time, well, stats lie, Mike G. And I'm like, not when you're looking at them correctly and looking at all of them. There's a correlation there between what we're seeing and the numbers that we see. The problem is that some people don't see all the numbers. They only see basic numbers. So, stats without context do lie.
Listen, we got some great stats coming up in something we're dropping later this week for our insiders, but we also got some great content coming in the fall for our insiders as well. So Mike G, man, talk to the folks about what you need to do to make sure you get some of this content that we're actually making available for insiders.
Yeah, listen, walk up to the door, knock, ring the doorbell. We will open it, and then you will be an insider. Just hand us $5.99, and you'll be an insider. Right? You don't want to be an outsider. You want to be an insider.
Oh, boo.
So $5.99 will get you there. During the fall, a lot of our game day experience will be insider only. What does that mean? Well, we do. If you were with us last fall, Anthony Grant, there are a few of you here who were actually watching us last fall when we went live twice a week, and actually 3 times a week we went live. And we went live pregame, halftime, and postgame. So our pregame and our halftime will be definitely just insider only. And then for our postgame, we may open that up to everybody, but make the comment section insider only to make sure that we remain troll free during that portion, because when we lose some games, I imagine there will be some fans in from other schools wanting to talk junk, right? That's not the time for that. They can come holler at us on Sunday if they want to in the post game. That is our time as Auburn fans to celebrate or commiserate. That's what we're going to do. So $5.99, become an insider. Supporters also will be able to take part in our game day experience as well too. So we're not leaving them out. But most of you guys, when you sign up to get all the extra benefits, you sign up for insider, which is why I say that. This is our merch store. You can find this link in the about section of our YouTube channel. Also in that section, you can find a link to our GoFundMe. This is work that we're doing to help put some good back into the world. I have a rescue puppy at home that's had a little bit of a rough 7 days. I appreciate all the well wishes that you guys have sent via social media for her speedy recovery. The internal bleeding has stopped, and she is hopefully on the mend, although we do have some long days ahead of us in finding ways to make her healthy. So I appreciate those well wishes. Just all I'm asking is that you guys help other people find the joy that we have found in our rescue animals by helping the Lee County Humane Society pair these animals with good homes. It is a great work that we've chosen to do. We hope you guys will support us in that. We are giving away a t-shirt. Hashtag get your weight up. If you missed this at the top of the broadcast, drop hashtag get your weight up. Make sure you get your spelling right, and you will be entered for that drawing here at the end of the broadcast. We've got 39 people out of 136 registered, so definitely want to see some more entries there before we hit a draw on that one. And then last but certainly not least, our next building report segment is with JT O'Sullivan of the QB School. This was a tremendous conversation with an excellent football mind about what it takes to be an elite college quarterback. We delved into a lot of things here. I love this interview. I've listened to it probably like 4 or 5 times already, and not just because I edited it, but because it was just such a great conversation. If you're an insider, you have gotten this already. It went live for you yesterday. Everybody else, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. And hit the comment section and let us know what you think. We're working really hard to bring you guys some different kind of content that is not only entertaining, but primarily it's education. It's for us all to learn something. I've learned a lot from the people who have been gracious enough to give us interviews over the last 6 months, and we're looking to keep that going. So watch out. We've got some things coming down the pipe that I think you guys are going to be really, really excited and happy about in terms of building rapport. So that's what we got coming.
We'll appreciate that, man. Listen, we're going to get into some fan questions. We've seen some. We're not ignoring you guys in the comments, and you've been asking about certain people, certain questions. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Spicy Penguin wants us to talk about Jarquez Hunter. Jarquez Hunter has been on campus and already won, was it Ironman of the Week award? He won it recently. I've been hearing good things. In fact, there's been talks that Jarquez Hunter may actually end up being the number 2 running back, the guy right behind Tank. That's the talk. Listen, I'm just happy that this kid may get a chance to actually be a contributor on offense, especially if we're talking about Tank's comments of Auburn being a downhill rushing attack and being good. He's gonna need some help. He can't really Auburn. I don't believe that Auburn can have a consistent downfield attack if it's just Tank carrying the load.
Yeah,
right. Sure. So to hear this about this kid it's encouraging. I want to see Shivers be able to contribute as well. In fact, we did a Facts and Nah a few weeks back, and I felt like this kid was going to be Auburn's 3rd leading rusher. So to hear him already getting on campus and making some noise is encouraging to see. I don't know if you guys have heard much about the talk, but what do you make of the chatter already about Jarquez Hunter kind of making an impact in the offseason? Go ahead, B.
When you win the state's Mr. Football award, which he was, I don't know if it's called Mr. Football in Mississippi, but he was voted the best player in the state last year. I'm never surprised when a guy who was the best in the state with as much football as gets played in any state in the South, if he's the best in the state, then he's impressive when he gets here to campus. Like, that's never a surprise. It always shocked me when somebody wins like the best player in their conference in college, and then they get drafted like 5th round, and then they get to the camp like, oh man, this guy's good. Like, you think he was the best, whatever player, offense or defense he was in the conference. He knows what he's doing. He at least had to excel at the level he was at to get recognized there. So when he gets into NFL camp, or in this case from high school to college, and you're like, man, this guy might be the real deal. Well, you think. I know that he didn't have all the stars, and I think it's because he doesn't quite have the breakaway speed. And we're not saying he's not fast. He actually ran track, and he was actually proficient at it. He wasn't breakaway speed fast. But that may have held back his star ranking, but I never was worried that he wasn't going to be the guy. I was worried that will he be able to pick up the offense, because they're not going to play around when it comes to blocking assignments.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing you worry about in a pro style offense early for a freshman running back. Are you going to pick up the blocking assignments? He wasn't here in spring, so he missed all of spring camp that would have allowed him to catch up in that regard.
Right.
So getting him in and having him win the Ironman of the Week, that's a big deal. When they started doing this, I'm looking at that Ironman of the Week award like, all right, the coaches are acknowledging that this guy has met their expectation with the physical demands of the strength and conditioning program. They've accepted that responsibility, and they are either meeting or exceeding that expectation. For me, that is a great sign. All the guys who have been on that list, I'm looking like, yep, I'm expecting a lot from you. I'm expecting a lot from you. I'm expecting to hear your name, because not only is that, yes, they're physically prepared to play, that's buy-in as well. And we know how important we think that buy-in is for a new coaching staff. So I'm not surprised that he's been getting this acknowledgement. As far as his place on the depth chart, Shivers was always an interesting thing because he's small. Lateral quickness is not his thing. And I think that's surprising, because when you've got somebody that's really small, they're usually very quick twitch and laterally quick. But Shivers doesn't seem to be, at least not his running style. Now, Ike has been on record saying, based on our run scheme, Shivers may be doing a lot better in this scheme than he did in the last one. So Shivers may be the number 2 we always thought he should have been. Now, if you're telling me we've got what really is if Shivers is our change of pace, then Jarquez could be a true backup to Tank as in when Tank gets out of here, that's going to be our RB1. And he's looking the part now, but it's just not his time. I would love it if we could go, if Tank, knock on wood, goes down for any reason, ankle, just a quick 1-2 weeks, that we've got somebody who can step in there and not take such a significant step back. And even if Shivers is healthy, he's not the same type of back. He's not great at breaking tackles. He can deliver a hit. Tank breaks tackles in a way that we haven't had in probably since Mason, but maybe a little better than Trey Mason based on what we've seen. And that's what I want from our RB1. Shivers is not that guy. Enough contact on Shivers that he goes down, but Tank breaks it. And hopefully Jarquez Hunter can be the guy that breaks it. And the fact that he's flashing this early, I'm telling y'all, man, hearing these names from the coaches, from other players, that's a good sign. That's encouraging. And I'm very pleasantly surprised that his name is coming up this soon.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder a little bit when we started seeing these Iron Man of the weeks, how much of this was rah-rah kind of motivational stuff, and then how much of it was actual, this guy is performing at a high level in practice day in and day out, and the coaches want to recognize that. I assume it's a mix of both.
Yeah.
So for Jarquez Hunter, I don't think that, quite honestly, that I don't want to diminish this young man's accomplishment, but based on where we've been at running back, I don't think it's a big leap to say he could be the second best running back on this team based on what's in front of him, other than Tank. Now, I do think that Shivers is definitely got his weight up this offseason, and he looks ready to bounce off people and fall.
Figuratively and literally.
Yeah, I mean, he looks ready to just break tackles, keep a low center of gravity, and just, chew up yards. But if for some reason he is ineffective in spelling Tank, I just wouldn't be surprised to see the coaches bring in Jarquez if he is tearing it up like they say he is. Now, I expect to see him regardless. I think that if this offense is doing what they're supposed to be doing, we're seeing in the first 3-4 weeks, we should be seeing a good amount of him to see if the hype is about something. Because in the first 2 games, back the second and third string should be in sometime in mid-third quarter. If things are going well. So I'm going to reserve judgment until I see him, plant, cut. And being the number 2 running back is not just about how well you tote the rock. It's about how well, especially in a Brian Harsin offense, you pick up blocking assignments.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're coming in to spell Tank, you're maybe not getting the ball, but you still need to pick up your blitz assignment. And if you're letting the quarterback get killed when you get in the game, you will not be in the game very much. So that will be his challenge, I think. It's just making sure he's picking up the blocking scheme.
And I think it'll be important, to your point, Mike, that he gets in mop-up duty when he can learn those things and the pressure isn't on. Right? That they're sitting down with him watching film, even in the moments he has game time, and saying, hey, here's what you graded out well at. Here's what you need to work on. Here's what you need to focus on, so that when he does find himself in a pressure situation, or Tank goes down and we're on the road against A&M, God forbid. But if he's in a situation where he has to do it, he's now getting the proper coaching that he's been getting all along, because they're actually putting these kids in situations that they can learn from them and see what they actually do in a game situation. I'm just encouraged that that someone is stepping up to be an actual running back or a candidate for playing time, other than the 2 guys that we know were Tank and Shivers. Like they were well knowns. Jarquez, we know what he did in high school, but he was an unknown. This kid that we got out the portal, an unknown. So to hear somebody making noise who's not named Tank, who's not named Shivers, is very encouraging, considering what Auburn intends to do on offense moving forward. So yeah, I'm happy to hear that. So we're at the hour. We're at the hour mark. And we got a t-shirt to give away, Mike G. So as promised, we got to stick to our word and give this away. So you guys know what you need to do in case you do not know what to do. I don't know why you wouldn't. Hashtag get your weight up, please. Get your weight up. Enter that in the comments. Enter that so that you can win a t-shirt. And what percentage are we going for, Mike G?
I was hoping aggressively like 90-something%. Right now we have 50 out of 144 people entered. So I'm gonna give you guys just a little bit more time to get entered into this. This is one of my favorite things that we do. Is giving this away to you guys for being here with us every Sunday and Wednesday. So we have been very fortunate and blessed that our channel has grown, and with that, we want to be able to give back for you guys supporting us definitely every week. So you got just another few seconds here. I got 55 entries. Can I get at least 65 before I hit this button? Ask the people in the comments. We definitely send these things out. This is a for real giveaway. No catfish. You will get a t-shirt if you enter and you win. And our insiders have been joking a little bit that it seems to be like first-time watchers that are winning. I have no control over that. This is truly random, not fixed.
Yeah, man. I always look for Corey Weber in the comments saying, "Well,
we know who ain't gonna win today because I haven't seen Corey today."
We had to redraw last week because you have to be present at the end and give us a shout after to win the t-shirt. So we reward people for staying the whole time. I got 58. If I can hit 60 here, I will hit draw.
Let me help some people out real quick before you hit that, Mike G.
Okay.
I don't know if Pocket Watch. I don't know. Okay, you got it. Okay, I looked up ahead to see where you actually put it in correctly. Okay. If I'm seeing you put it in wrong, I'm gonna give you a chance to.
Oh, there we go.
Usually, if you're the initiated, you know what's up now.
All right.
Pocket Watch is funny.
So Blake, Corey's not here. It's just that's a sign. This is your day. This is your day, Blake.
All right, I'm gonna hit draw here in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Who's it gonna be this week? Who's it gonna be? Is it Geo Tiger? Geo Tiger, where you at, man? Drop us a comment real quick.
You gotta reveal yourself now.
I will hit draw again. It will happen. Geo Tiger.
Yes, it has happened. There's a precedent for us redrawing. So please, if you're still watching with us, come on, Geo.
It's gonna be so tragic to have to redraw.
You have 142 people wanting you not to respond. So claim your prize.
His wife made him go change the laundry, and he missed out.
Oh man, not the honeydew list.
Yeah, take the phone with you.
Is this about to be a second episode live in a row? We redraw?
Ethan Sandler is stupid. Damn thing. Oh no! Don't say you're getting congratulations. We gotta hear from you.
Don't Spicy see he gone.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna give him 20 more seconds here.
We gotta have a standard for this. We gotta have a standard for this.
Yeah, we gotta have
we gotta give you a certain amount of time because everyone is like,
wow. Spin the wheel. Paul Huggins says spin the wheel. Mary Thompson.
It's time to redraw, bro.
Oh man, do it again. I'm so sorry, brother. I'm so sorry. Draw it again. Let's see. Who will it be this time? Maybe they'll be here.
I just saw Blake's name. It's not going to be you.
Arctic Blizzard.
Arctic Blizzard. Where you at?
Where you at, Arctic? Come on. Be here. Arctic is one of our regulars.
Yeah.
Regular. Arctic, just throw us a shout out, man.
Come on, Arctic.
Don't make me do this again.
Arctic sus.
Don't let nobody hope no one called you in the middle.
There he goes. Oh,
okay,
man.
He got it.
Perfect. Awesome.
Right.
Thank you. Listen, he has been supporting our content for quite a while. So email us your address, business@thewarreport.com. That's business@thewarreport.com. Send us your address and your t-shirt size, and we will get that t-shirt right out to you. So one of these days, I feel like we're going to have a repeat winner. And what I respectfully ask of our community is, if you have won something, throw that thing back, man, just so somebody else can win something too if you've already won. We gave away a really nice watch via Primetime Shop a couple weeks ago. I was really happy to send that out. Yeah, so if you've already won, I would ask that you pass the blessings along to somebody else so that we can have more winners. But yeah, enjoy doing that. Enjoy doing that, fellas.
I like this comment right from Heath. They said they would like to have a trivia night to start the new season. Team Mike G versus Team B Will.
Oh man, what?
That could be funny.
I'll try to start something.
Funny.
I'll try to start something. That'd be some insider content for sure.
Yeah. Now if we do that, it definitely will be insider for sure.
Yeah. Trivia night. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to a trivia night. A lot of great comments here, Caesar. Just a lot of great comments here. I saw that Steve Vest popped in. He doesn't normally.
Shout out to Steve Vest, man.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're watching. Yeah, I actually got to catch us live. I think he's caught us live maybe before, but usually it's afterwards. And so good to see him. Saw a few other people that I normally don't see until after the fact too. So it's almost that time of year. We're starting to see people catching us live, man. And it's great, man. And we appreciate you guys hanging with us. Saw Tori Dickerson. Shout out to you, brother. I don't know if you're still watching. Shout out to you, man. Few other people as well, but yeah, man, we got some great content coming up this week. More to talk about. Please be on the lookout for some great content for our insiders. Mike G, talk to us about what we got coming up, bro.
Listen, so I'm beating you guys over the head with it, but can't stress enough, you definitely want to become an insider. Our new insider segment, for the record, will drop on Thursday. We're going to be delving into O-line numbers. I won't give too much of it away, but it is definitely an informational segment. We partnered with Justin Ferguson over at the Auburn Observer. He's providing the stats for us, but Justin is a numbers guy. I appreciate him. Him and I get along well, talking about the numbers and what they mean and what they will mean for us in the future. So that will be insider only. Hit our merch store, the About section of our YouTube channel. Also, you can donate to our fundraiser with the Lee County Humane Society. 50 cents on every dollar goes to help them save animals, which is a cause that is near and dear to my heart. And then I'm really interested to hear the feedback from you guys on this interview. So this drops for everybody tomorrow at 10 a.m. But I definitely hit the comment section on that video. I assume you guys are going to light this one up. JT rolled through and gave us a lot of really good tidbits on QB play and what it takes to be an elite college quarterback. And I'm so grateful and thankful that he decided to take the time to talk to us. So, part of this education that we're doing is not just about talking to Auburn people. It's about talking to football people and then seeing how that correlates to what's happening at Auburn. So he's just a football guy, former 49ers quarterback. He's got a great channel. I suggest you guys go check it out. He did a couple of breakdowns on Bo Nix that I thought were fair and balanced. He's a good guy and decided to talk to us. So please, sub to his channel and check out what he's doing over there. That's next level football nerd stuff. You really want to talk about what offense and quarterbacking, his channel is next level stuff. So he definitely has the knowledge to share, and we appreciate him sharing a little bit of his knowledge with us.
And just a note, again, guys, we're not really insiders. We react to some of the news we hear. Someone's asking, what's the word on TJ? All we know is he's enrolled and is getting acclimated to this team. Yeah. That's it.
Oh, well, I'll tell you this. I did read that he's already become a leader in the locker room. He's a locker room warrior already. Came right in, settled in, is well-liked. He's been well-received by his teammates and is taking this opportunity by the reins. So for what that's worth, I've heard nothing but positive reports on TJ Finley to date. But it's about what I expected. I mean, he's a football guy. He's coming in. He's going to try to do his thing and battle for this job. And part of that battle is not just about completing passes and throwing passes on time. It's about winning the locker room, winning the trust of the guys around you.
Yeah.
Because you are your quarterback. There's no choice. There's no choice in the matter. If you're the quarterback, you have to be a leader. And he's taking advantage of that opportunity right now. I've heard that his teammates are really. I've heard some receivers have been really singing his praises about his work ethic and how he's approached this transition in his life. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what that translates to there, definitely. But all eyes will definitely be on TJ Finley come fall because we're going to see him, fellas. We're going to see him. Yeah. And that first game, we're going to see TJ Finley one way or the other.
I mean, we're going to see him throughout the first month. I mean, Penn State, we're going to see him.
Yeah.
Right.
Steve Vest said this. He said, listen, regardless of how it's going, if we don't see TJ Finley, we should be concerned.
Yeah.
And I can't stress, I agree with that on every single level. Whether it's going great or if it's not going so hot, we should see TJ Finley.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to be, a lot of people are going to be, oh, did Geo Tiger jump in here at 311? Oh, so sorry, brother.
Oh, man.
No,
did he?
So, yeah, he did. So yeah, get your weight up. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to manage this. Did you guys see there was a list of I think it was 247 released a highly controversial list of tiers for quarterbacks going into 2021, and the tier 1 was very questionable. They had Clemson's quarterback DJ. I won't even try to pronounce his last name because I don't want to butcher it. Right, but they had him in tier 4. Yeah, I'm telling you, maybe we should do a whole show on this. This list was like Bo Nix wasn't on the list.
I'm going to go look up this list.
Yeah, I mean, it was somebody posted it in All About Auburn. Shout out Devin Dawson, and it was just it was 247 list of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 quarterbacks going into the year, and some of the guys down in tier 4, I was like, huh? I mean, I'm sorry, like that DJ, he looked like a tier 2 at the worst quarterback to me, based on what we saw in the limited duty that he had.
Indeed.
Bryce Brown they had down there at tier 4, in the tier 4, hasn't taken a snap, but there's an assumption that he's going to be good just because that's what they've been doing at quarterback lately, I guess. It was just something that how they're looking at talent going into this season. Bachmeier, the reason I brought it up was because Bachmeier, Harson's quarterback protege from Boise, made the list in one of those tiers.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to be interested to see how they decide to manage this QB situation this year. It's going to dictate a lot of what they decide to do offensively. So we spent the whole thing talking about offensive identity. Well, your quarterback will have a lot to do whether you can play downhill.
See, now I'm curious to see who's in these upper tiers. According to James Barnett, the Bama QB was in tier 4 as well. So we may I think we may just need to discuss this on Wednesday. So we will save this one. Let's not wax poetically too much on this. This could be a topic for next week.
Yeah, I was baffled by this list. I really was. And Ike's not here with us today, but I really was. We talk a lot offline. I wanted to get his thoughts on this list as well too. It just seemed they were all over the place with it. And yeah, I had a hard time pinning down what criteria they were using to put quarterbacks in tiers, because there were some guys in there that had never taken a snap. And I'm not, even though I know I've been hard on Bo, but I don't think there's a quarterback list that I would not at least put him in tier 4. Based on experience and based on some of the guys they put in there. I think. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yeah, we'll talk about that next. Exactly. We'll just talk about this upcoming Wednesday. Don't give away your talking points. Okay. Ethan Sandlin, are we going to talk to? I'm assuming he's talking about Cole Kubelik in during the season.
It's a good chance. We're going to be talking to a lot of people. We're actually working on that as we speak with our fall content schedule. We're going to be really busy regardless. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be no shortage of content, which is why we've been pushing the opportunity to become an insider, because a lot of that special content will be made available to those guys and gals. So definitely want to become an insider. We're going to be talking to a lot of people this season, film review, a lot of dope things that you guys loved in the off season. There's going to be more of that during the regular season. So you definitely want to do that. Shout out to you, Emerson. Appreciate you, man, for that. And I think that's it, man. I think unless I'm not seeing anything shuffling through.
I did want to disagree with Mike, because I remember what I disagreed with him about earlier. It finally came back to me. Right?
Hold that thought, B. Hold that thought. Hang on to that thought, B. Burner account is Devin Barrett going to be a factor this season at running back? To be determined.
TBD, man. I honestly don't know, man. They're playing a lot of this very close to the vest. If I were a betting man, I would say no.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We know one thing for sure. Tank's the number one,
right?
And it looks like Shivers is the clear number two for now. But that will depend on how he performs as well, and what should be mop-up duty.
Yeah.
Right. When he gets in the game, if he's not burning it up, they may not waste a whole lot of time in moving to the next back to start evaluating what your third and fourth strings can do.
Right. Because he's a senior. Like he's been here. You only got a year with this guy, so his ceiling is not going to be high. So he has to show improve in order to get those reps and those snaps.
Yeah,
there hasn't been much news about him. Everyone loves a good underdog story. Everyone loves a good comeback story. So for that reason, we're all rooting for this kid. But I haven't heard much of anything about him. So to be determined.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's it, guys. I think we've talked about everything else that's coming up. We're going to get out of here so you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. But guys, please be sure to share this video today on your social media. Please use hashtag get your weight up when you do. Please be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. If you haven't already, please do that.
Wait, Caesar, I'm sorry. There's one thing I want to say before we get out of here. Heath Denson says that he wishes we could have Trevon Reed on here. You guys can help us. You guys can help us with this, right? He is fairly active in the All About Auburn group. Listen at him and tell him to talk to us. You guys have more power as fans than you think. At him and say, hey, you should go talk to the War Rapport. I would love to have Trevon Reed on as well too.
I would like that as well.
Yeah.
I would like that as well. And I guess we do need to we have a holiday coming up, so I guess we need to figure out what we're going to do about that. We'll keep you guys posted on that. Okay. Sure. Check in with us on Wednesday. We'll let you know what we plan on doing on 4th of July, because we normally would do a live show that day. So we'll keep you guys posted on if we'll have a live or not. So that'll be that. But again, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at The War Rapport. You can find us at TW Rapport on TikTok. That's it for now, guys. We appreciate you. See you on Wednesday. But until then, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.